We hear it a lot these days, but do you know what viruses are? First, let's go back in time and learn a little bit of history. It started in 1892 when Dmitry Ivanovsky studied the tobacco mosaic disease that was destroying the tobacco plants in the Crimea region. His study was then continued by a number of microbiologists, including Martinus Beijerinck in 1898. Beijerinck independently replicated Ivanovsky's experiments, and he was finally convinced that the disease was caused by a form of infectious agent. He then coined the term virus, which means poison in Latin. In general, the shapes of viruses are classified into 4 different groups: filamentous, isometric, enveloped, and complex. A complex virus usually consists of a head and tail morphology structure that is unique to viruses that only infect bacteria, and we call them the bacteriophages. Viruses have a simple structure. A complete virus particle is called a virion. Let's break down a virion. A virion basically consists of a type of nucleic acid that holds their genetic info, which could be their DNA or RNA, surrounded by a protective coat of protein called a capsid. Viral DNA or RNA is a great source of information of the virus. They tell the virus's identities, their infection mechanisms, and also the proteins they possess. Viruses are found in almost every type of ecosystem on Earth. They are believed to be the most abundant biological entity on Earth. You can find viruses in the ocean and also marine animals. They have also been found on land, in and on plants and animals, floating in the air, and floating on the ocean surface. Scientists believe there are around 200,000 different virus species in the ocean, playing a major role in photosynthesis and carbon cycle. Well, every drop of seawater contains millions and millions of viruses in it. They are extremely small that regular microscopes can't be used to see them. Only advanced types of microscopes, like the electron microscopes, can be used to help us see viruses a little clearly, such as these. Well, here is how small they are. If you compared them to the human red blood cell and the common E. coli bacterium cell, viruses can be 100 times smaller in size. Viruses are that small that they often infect bacterial cells to reproduce themselves. Well, actually, this is what they love to do. When they invade living bacterial, plant, or human cells, viruses take over their cellular machinery to make copies and copies of themselves. Most of the times, this causes the death of the infected cells. This is where viruses are special. Scientists have 2 different opinions on virus. Some believe that viruses are living organisms since they possess genes and also undergo mutation. But others believe that viruses are only organic structures that interact with other living organisms. The reason is because they lack of the basic metabolic functions. They can't multiply without a host, and they become dormant as soon as they are out in the open. Interesting, isn't it? I guess we can safely say that viruses are not living organisms. When viruses invade a cell, they might cause various diseases. This is what they're famous for, the tiny infectious agents. The flu, for instance, is caused by influenza viruses that spread through the air from cough or sneeze droplets of an infected or a sick person. This is why masks could help prevent the spread of the viruses. When you are sick and you are wearing a mask, you are protecting those around you from contracting the virus. Keeping your hands clean is also an important way to avoid viruses from getting into your body. You can use antibacterial soap or hand sanitizers to do this. Other viruses are pathogenic to plants. Remember the first virus discovered from the tobacco plants we discussed before? It is now known as the tobacco mosaic virus, or in short, the TMV. This virus destroys chloroplast in tobacco leaves, causing mosaic-like mottling and discoloration, which will eventually damage the tobacco crops. Although little is still known, scientists have just discovered that viruses have long lived in harmony within us. Trillions and trillions of viruses are now inhabiting all surfaces, both inside and outside of our bodies. For instance, viruses called the bacteriophages are also part of our natural immune system. They infect and destroy specific bacterial cells that can be dangerous to our health. So now you know there are different kinds of viruses. And not all of them are bad. We know that the ocean has a rich collection of viruses. They play a major role in photosynthesis and carbon cycle. This means that they help balance the Earth's nutrient and energy cycles. Yes, you heard it right. Viruses help balance the things we need to survive. Well, all this time, we think we are the rulers of the Earth. But no, real rulers are actually viruses.